What's good, family? You're now tapped in with Pastor Ground. We discuss life beyond the 9 to 5. And today, we finally got approval for the greenhouse. The HOA said, y'all good to go. We like y'all design. We like the layout. You know what I'm saying? Make the neighborhood great again. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to start doing the prep work, get the foundation ready, so then we can pour some concrete. But yeah, this is a spot that we have. This is the let's see, it's like the northeast-ish side of our lot. But yeah, the sun travels right here diagonally across our lot. But here we go. This is where it's gonna go. This is the corner that it's gonna be in. For our city regulations, it's got to be at least 5 feet from the fence line. Ours is gonna be 8 feet away from it. And 12 feet away from the back fence, of course, to give this tree a little space of its own. The greenhouse that we have is going to be 11 by 7 with the concrete pad under it. That's going to be a 12 by 8. This is the area that we got to work with. I'm going to start clearing this out. I'm going to level it. You're going to see the tools that we use. You're going to see the work that we put in. And hopefully it'll inspire you to do your own if this is something that you was thinking about doing. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's get active. Let's make this happen. All right, so the first thing up that we're gonna do is we're gonna clear out this space and level it out. I put down some dirt here earlier in the season. Now I gotta take said dirt away, or at least take enough so that the concrete is started at a pretty good level. So like I said, we're just gonna take this out, clear it out, level it out as best as possible. Then we're gonna come back in here with some gravel, put all the gravel down, make sure that we got a nice 2 to 3 inch layer of gravel. Then we're gonna pour this concrete. Really, it's not much to be said here. When you got a whole lot of work to be done, got a whole lot of action to be taken, it ain't much to be said, so I'm just gonna dig. You know, I got at least 24 hours worth of work ahead of me, so here I am trying to knock it out. And I gotta say, clay is one of the most interesting soil types to have to work in because it's extra hard when it's dry and it's super malleable when it's wet or when it's moist. So it's always difficult to work with. Always difficult. Honestly, aside from moving the bags of concrete, moving the dirt, like digging into the ground and, you know, transporting the dirt to the different locations, that's probably the most laborious part of this whole thing, because dirt, whether you know it or not, dirt is heavy. Like it's heavy. This Texas clay soil is super hard and compacted. Like it takes the full force of my weight just to pierce through the surface of the clay. The Texas sun really acts as a kennel and bakes the surface of the soil. All right, sounds like a plan to me. Oh, did I send you a text message to give me a couple Gator lights? Damn, I meant to. Like 4. I'm gonna drink the whole quick. Between Flash IV from Body Armor and Gator Light from Gatorade, those are my 2 drinks of choice when working in that hot Texas heat. Keep you hydrated, keep you feeling good, keep you ready to go. So if you need something in this kind of situation, I suggest one of those 2. So here, I pretty much flattened all of the dirt to the best of my ability. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good, you know. I say it's pretty decent. I did a little bit of pre-compacting before I go and get the compactor, just to flatten it out a little bit more and compact it a little bit. I'm trying to get the grade to go down at this angle right here. So down here, also down here a little bit. Still got a low spot. lower than I want it to be over here. So as always, I have to put in a little extra work, but it's better to do it on the front end and get this pretty much how I want it right now, so that it all works out for the best in a little bit. All right, we about to I need this to be square. So what you gonna do? Where's that square at? Oh, I hung it on the tree. You know what you gonna do? You gonna line this up with this, and then you gonna with this line, but you gonna keep it in line, like barely touching it. And then you're going to tell me when this line is at a right angle. So let's slide this down and right on top of that one. You know what I'm saying? I already know that hoe gonna overheat.
Damn, I'm out here in my good jeans.
Yeah, shoot.
I came out to record and you said get to work. So you tell me when you're ready for me to hold it up.
Mm. 8.5. All right. So, all right, I'm ready. Here you see my fabulous wife helping me get our little template squared away, so we know where we plan on putting down this concrete slab, and making sure that the corners are square over here to some extent, so that we have a good idea of the area that we're working in. And honestly, all the work that we're putting in right now is preparation to make sure that the concrete pour goes as smooth as possible. Because the better we prepare, the better the concrete pour is, and the better final product that we have. So we're putting in that front end work right now so that the back end is easier and better looking, especially since we're not professionals. We want to make sure that this preparation is as best as possible to make our job more easy. All right, close enough for me. And after getting that right angle correct on the first corner, the next three were pretty easy. Knocked it out, became a little bit more efficient as we went on. But all in all, pretty easy. From there, that was really the end of day one, end of our preparation work. And then we moved on to day two. So I thought, because I ended up getting a second wind of energy, and I went over to the garage and I said, you know what? I can start to create the form. I can cut down this wood, and I set myself up for success for tomorrow. So I went and grabbed my miter saw, dusted it off, because the spider webs had completely taken over. And I couldn't work with my equipment like that, so I had to dust it off, had to brush it off, get it nice and clean so I can work with some clean equipment. Oh, yeah. Out here getting these forms together, or getting the form together. Cut my wood to 8.5. Yeah, 2 pieces of 8.5. And then, man, I really didn't think too far into that one. I only got 10-foot boards, but 2 of the boards I need them to be 12. It's a dilemma. I need 2 boards to be 12. I was gonna, if I would have cut them to 8, I would have had 2 of them that I would have cut 2 feet off of both sides. But now, damn, I'm gonna have to run to the store and get some wood, some supplemental wood. Here's what it is. And get a couple short boards. That's fine. I got 5 boards that's 10 feet tall. So 2 of these boards, again, I'm cutting down to 8.5 feet. I'm gonna make that do what it do. And then the other 2 boards, I'll have to put roughly 2 feet onto the end, maybe a little bit more, just to get some extra, I guess. But yeah, 2 of the boards will be 8.5, and then the other 2 boards, they'll be 12.5, at least 12.5. Because I'm gonna make the concrete pad 12.5 by 8.5. I'm gonna make that do what it do. But I'm gonna go ahead and cut down these 2 8.5 foot boards, because I want to cut some, so I'm going ahead and knock those out. These are a long way. So here I realized that I could save some time and continue with what I was working on by cutting down my screed wood and then using that to add that additional length to my 10-foot boards, and then I could give myself that 12.5 foot board that I was looking for. So, you know, here I am working efficiently and making changes on the go to accomplish the goal that I'm trying to accomplish. So now you can see on the right of my screen, I have the 2 8-foot plus boards, and then in the middle, I have those 2 foot by 4-inch boards, and then on the far left, I have those 10-foot boards. So I have all of the material that I need to make my forms right here, and we good to go. My mic went out here, so here I am stuck making a voiceover. But yeah, I got a job accomplished. Day 2, I had to kick it up a notch. Went and grabbed a trailer for the truck so I can grab some new tools. Also picked up some drainage rocks to go underneath the concrete, make sure the foundation was solid. And I also grabbed my rebar. First thing that I had to do when I got back to the crib is utilize this compactor here. And that was just to compact all of that dirt that I had put down the day before. Make sure that it's nice and flat and compacted so that the soil or dirt doesn't move around after this concrete is put into place. I don't know if it was me or the machine, but there was a slight learning curve to it. When I first started, the machine was shutting down, but I got it together. I figured out how to do it. I had to watch a couple of YouTube tutorials, but I got it together. Next, me and my boys got the drainage stone out of the trailer. It seems like every weekend we're always moving some kind of material. Last week or the week before, it was that mulch, and this week it's this drainage. So we're gonna be strong. Me and the family gonna be strong. That farmer kind of strong. But yeah, we knocked that out. It took probably about an hour and a half. We did a little bit every so often. Made sure that we was hydrated. Boys were a big help, as they always are. But we got the job done, as always. Moving as a family, succeeding at all we do, knocking it out one step at a time. So the aim here was to put down roughly 2 inches worth of drainage stone. And the cool part about this is that on a lot of websites, there is a calculator built in to help you know how much you need to purchase. So you're not purchasing too much material, you're not purchasing too little material. You know, you're really purchasing what you need. So take advantage of those calculators out there. After roughly an hour and a half of moving stone, we finally got this slab, or the foundation of the slab, filled with that 2 inches that I stated before. And it was back to compacting, making sure we had a nice, tight, compact foundation. That's what you see me doing here. To close out the night, I went to Home Depot to pick up the concrete that we needed. And it wasn't a disaster, but it didn't go as planned. I tried to warn the guys that I didn't think that they could put the pallet onto the trailer. Nonetheless, they tried anyway. They ended up dropping the whole pallet, as you'll see in a second. But you know, we got it lifted. We got it put back onto the trailer. As you can see right here, I already knew things were going wrong because the back end of my truck was coming off the ground, and you never want to see that. Never want to see that when you load in the trailer. But yeah, right about sometime in this area, you see the pallet fall over, and they gotta manually put the concrete onto the trailer, which is, it's not ideal. I understand it's not ideal, but you know, sometimes that's what you gotta do. And as you can see right here, the whole pallet collapses and it turns into a manual effort of loading this concrete.
It fell out.
Being the person that I am, I hopped into action and helped them load up that concrete. And just like that, it was day 3. And day 3 really meant that I needed to be on my way to laying this concrete. So I had to put down a rebar. And I really got the rebar set up prior to the camera lady getting out there and recording. And here's the funnest part of rebar, tying it all together. That's at least my favorite part of the rebar process. That tool is pretty cool. If you don't know, now you know. After I finished up with the rebar, me and the boys moved these 80-pound bags of concrete. So the process that we established here was I loaded 2 bags into the wheelbarrow. My oldest son moved the wheelbarrow over to our staging area. I unloaded those same bags, and my youngest son pushed the wheelbarrow back to the trailer. All in all, it took us a few hours to get all of this unloaded. Again, it was a total of 66 bags that we moved. So it took us a few hours. I made sure that the boys were hydrated, made sure that they didn't overexert their energy. So we took a little while to get all that concrete over there. But once we got all of the concrete over to that staging area, it was off to the races. As y'all can see in front of us, we got the mud mixer here, and that's a mixing, it's a tool used to mix the concrete. And you put a bag in, it mixes it with water, and you got concrete, you know, in the location that you're in. There's a little bit of, there's a learning curve to this. Learning how much water to mix in there, and also you got to take into consideration what you set your water pressure to. That's the water hose feeding into the mud mixer. But all in all, man, super easy process, and I suggest it to anybody like doing a backyard project like this. The mud mixer is definitely a dope concept, a dope tool to help you lay down this concrete. The one thing that I will say is that now that I've used this, I'd use a lot less water than what I use here. I thought if I put it on the minimum setting, I'd be good. But I actually needed to take it a step further and turn down my actual water hose, because I feel like we used a little bit more water than I wanted to use for this project. So if I do it again, I definitely use a little bit less a little bit less water. So early on, we did have a soupy mess, but we did dial it in a little bit after that and reduce the water. Again, should have reduced it a little bit more, but you know, you learn, you live, you learn, you find a better technique, and then you do better the next time. The one thing that I will say is shout out to the family for having my back. I went into this whole process not thinking that we could lay this slab down. Having a little bit of doubt there, but man, the fam came through. Wife was pushing and pulling the concrete, making sure the slab was good to go. I was on bag duty. Again, I threw 66 bags of 80-pound concrete, a total of 132 times, something like that. But yeah, so excited. I was so excited to have a family helping me. Little man was on the camera. My other son was making sure that he was throwing the other bags, the empty bags, in the location that we could, you know, consolidate them and put them all together and then get them ready for trash that ran the next day. So, you know, the whole family was looking out. The mud mixer estimate was that this project would take roughly an hour and a half to pour the concrete. I'd say they were off. They were probably off by, it was double that. It probably took about 3 hours to pour the concrete that we had here. Again, if you're doing a project like this, I definitely suggest checking out a mud mixer. Even if it's even if you don't think that it's a tool for you, I still suggest looking into it and just checking it out to see maybe it works for you, maybe it doesn't, but at least know that option is there. Again, that's called a mud mixer. Here again, me and the boys build memories. I let them screed the concrete. And if you don't know, screeding is the part of the process where you level off the concrete. So I let them, you know, screed that concrete, and they liked it. They had fun. That's what it's all about, making those memories with the family. At least for me, that's what it's about. The day after we reviewed our work, I let the whole family write their initials into the concrete, and I think we did a pretty good job.